The Hereford Drive, I think differences in type and kind and maybe a few more issues in terms of feet and legs, but the quality holds find their way to the top for me. I think all differences, and you can sort them however. I guess for me, skeleton design is where I'm going to land on this pair of Gilts. And I think of the pair of Gilts, there's one that's is probably a little heavier skeleton. There's one that's probably got a little more shape and muscle. For me, I like the young lady's Gilt to win the drive, and I think she does so from a heaviness and structure standpoint. I'll be the first to admit you get right behind her. She needs to be spread at the ground, but I think she's got the most bone, she's got the most power, and gives you the best look on the side. This gilt here is very close on the top end. This gilt's got more shape. She's a little rounder out of her hip, not quite as heavy in her structure, but I do like that gilt in terms of her design on the side. I like her shape as good as anything in the class. I think a nice reserve in this breed. The next one coming out is a real powerful kind of a gilt. She's one you kind of land on or you gravitate towards and put her third, and I don't like to say that because it's not fun to be third, but this gilt has a lot of quality in her. She is a big, dense, heavy skeleton kind of a hog. I don't read her with near enough comfort out of her hip and hind leg, maybe due to just her overall age and maturity, but I think that gilt's got some power, got some muscle working in her. Just need to see her use her hind leg with more authority for me today, but I think that gilt, in terms of power and center body, got some quality there. Really attractive gilt. That gilt's front 2/3 as good as anything, and one that probably could win if you're just judging that. For me, she gets too round out of her hip. She's too straight from her hock to her ground. Next one coming out gives up flesh. I like her design from the side. Need to fix her hind leg as well in terms of squaring it up. Next two gilts need more center body and dimension to get them any higher. Good class of Herefords. Let's congratulate all those breeders and exhibitors.
Congratulations, your champion Hereford was Jasmine Clevenger from Oregon. Reserve champion Rhett Taylor from Oklahoma. Third, Bella Herrera from California. Fourth, Sutter Long from California. Fifth, Lily Barber from Oregon. Sixth, Tina Crawford from Kansas. And seventh, Thomas Willis from Kansas. Coming into the ring at this time, we'll begin our landrace drive.
land race in 2 drives, and if there's
We didn't do a top 5, so we have no way to pull any more pures other than the champion reserve.
The drive's awfully good. 2 young men find their way to the top for me, and I think those gilts are very similar in their type and kind. There's differences in terms of extension. There's differences.
Those guys are writing some ear notches down, but that's going to suck to go call. Oh, by the way, we decided randomly we're bringing the
out of their hip and hind leg and keep their top line together. That man right here is going to win the drive. And I think that gilt does so. Really square out of her hip and hind leg. She's heavy skeleton. I think she proportions right. High quality kind of an underline. I think a nice gilt there to win this drive. The gilt second. Awesome job driving this gilt, young man. I think that gilt is really good in the center part of her body. She's a little shorter stepping. She maybe gets a little bit closer at the ground. I think the longer the drive goes on, I think she stays together on her top line. Maybe not quite as ideal, but I think that makes her reach a little bit more out of her hind leg. She's got a nice quality underline, not the extension that our class winner's got. The pounds heavy gilt is going to be third, and this is a really high quality gilt in herself. I just think she's too tight off both ends. I think we loosen her up out of her shoulder and loosen her up out of her hip. I think it gets close because she offers shape, look, design, and center body. I think a nice kind of a gilt. She's maybe just a little bit pushing out of bounds there behind. Longer the drive goes on, she gets a little tighter hinge. The next one coming out is when she first came out, she's the first one out of the gate. I thought that's a great Class 1 winning land race gilt because her skeleton's awfully good. She's got good extension. She just gives up flesh and maturity. I think maybe want to cave in a little bit at her knee when she comes right at me, but I think a little more time on feed would be to her advantage. Really nice September gilt, and the young lady, you know, I hate to put a gilt of that caliber in 5th because she's very, very good, but she just gets out powered, she gets out flesh, maybe not quite as comfortable the way she moves out of her hind leg, and that's probably due to maturity. That's an awfully good gilt to be 5th in a class. Congratulations to all those exhibitors. Let's put our hands together for those showmen. gilts in our second drive, and I think the pair of gilts, similar in their type and kind, they find their way to the top. Easy thing to do is to use this real stout one the young lady's got. She's going to win this drive, and I think does so from just a power standpoint. I think she opens up the truest coming at you and gives you the most shape and muscularity. I'm not going to call her ideal behind, but I call her good enough in this particular drive. I think a nice gilt to win the class. The gilt in second does have the advantage in terms of height to shoulder. A gilt that's level enough. She's just a little more timid out of her hind leg. I don't read that angulation to her hind leg quite as correct as our class winner, but one that I do like in terms of her look from the side. She's heavy enough in her skeleton. Young man's drove a nice set of hogs here today. The next one coming out in terms of skeleton and design, probably as good as anything. And to this young lady's disadvantage, looks like she got injured out of her right hind, because that's the kind of gilt that can win the drive if she's moving good enough, because her design is really good on the side. She offers some shape, awesome skin and hair, and a well-presented kind of a gilt. Just needs to go just a nickel bit better for me. Might be her left, I guess, the way we're looking at her there, but just needs to move a little bit better for the ring today. Here's one that gives you a great look on the side. Good feet and legs, just needs to be heavier skeleton. Need to trim her up a little bit there in her lower third. Just push it a little more condition than ideal for this particular ring today. Next one coming out, offers some bone and power. Just see it's a little flatter sided, not quite as comfortable up in her front shoulder. Finish up the drive with the gilt. We need more flesh, we need more body in that particular one. Good class of landrace. Let's give those exhibitors a round of applause.
Congratulations, winning Class 2, Anderson Ashley from California. Second, Wayne Barnett, Oregon. Third, Maddie Nissen, California. Fourth, Emma Suing, Oregon. And fifth, Jaden Neubauer, California. Sixth, Tammy Goodwin, Oregon. Coming back in from each of those classes, we'll have our first place individuals, Braden Borden from class number 1 from California. And Ashley Anderson from California, winning class number 2.
Give it up for our 2 landrace class winners out here for champion. Let's give them a nice round of applause. I was not overwhelmed with numbers. I think we had 11 or 12. The quality of this breed has been good, and I think these gilts are very similar in their type and kind. Obviously, just differences in age and weight, and I think maybe want to tweak them just a little bit both in terms of the way they move. But for me, I read one with just a little truer angulation off both ends, and I think one stays together in their top line. I like to go on the second class. Let's congratulate her. She's going to have our champion landrace.
Congratulations to Ashley Anderson from California, your champion landrace. Coming in from that class will be Wayne Barnett from Oregon.
Bring the second place gilt in. I think she gets into contention. I like her height of shoulder as I talked, her heaviness of structure, maybe not quite as fluent the way she moves behind. And the gilt that wins the first class is one that's designed right, proportional, high quality kind of underline. She gets a little shorter stepping the longer we drive her, but I like that gilt's overall design. I like her second best out of the first class. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Braden Borden of California, your reserve champion landrace.
differences and maybe a few more soundness issues in terms of this particular breed in the ring today. But the pair of Gilts find their way to the top. I think they do so from a balance standpoint. With that said, I think there's one that's got a little more length and levelness of hip. Congratulate the young lady with their champion Poland Gill here. I think she's got the design hog that offers some shape and muscularity. I like her levelness of hip comparing to our second place Gilt. I think a nice Gilt to win the breed. The Gilt in second. I like her frame. I like her dimension she's got. She's a little shorter about her hips. She just needs to level out and get a little more comfortable. But a high quality underline, looks like a big frame kind of a hog. Nice place to be second in the reserve champion. The third place Gilt comes out, similar mold as our champion in terms of frame size, just not near as comfortable out of her hip and her hind leg. She just wants to get a little more rigid up there, and she wants to tie in and get a little closer to her knee when she comes right at me. Big powerful Gilt comes out next. She's a little shorter coupled, a little shorter hip. Pushing a little more flesh than ideal. Opens up as good as anything coming at you, just not near as comfortable, doesn't balance up as good for me in the ring today. We finish up with our fifth place Gilt, just not quite as coordinated. Want to blend her top line in at the same time. But a good class of Poland. Let's give the exhibitors a nice round of applause.
Congratulations, your champion, Poland, Whitney Whitaker from California. Reserve champion, Kyle Downs from Arizona. Third, Megan Guerin, California. Fourth, Taylor Patello, California. And fifth, Tina Crawford from Kansas.
little issue getting one in, but we got them in and worked them in where they needed to be. And I think a nice way to start off our spotted drives, congratulate the young lady with our class winner here. I think she's got the design balance skills that gives you a great look on the side, 20 squaring up off both ends, still some better days ahead of her. I think a high quality underline, feet and legs and designs why she wins the class. Heavier skeleton gilt's going to be in second, and I think second and third are close. They're very similar in terms of their bone and structure. Need to clean her ham loin up a little bit. She's a little real rigid about her hind leg, the way she wants the plant dry. Give her a little more security. She might push a little harder on that class winner, but a nice kind of a gilt. I like her bone and structure to be second. The gilt in third, obviously the one that came in a little bit late, probably a little harder headed to get up here. She offers shape and muscle and power and bone. I think maybe in terms of quality standing still, she's as good as any, but just a little bit tighter off both ends. She's a little shorter hip. That's where I want to challenge her just a little bit, give her a little more length to stride off both ends. The dark colored gilt that comes out next, flexibility awfully good, level square made kind of a hog. Need to see more muscle and stifle shape in her to get her any higher. The fifth place one comes out next is one that's bone and structure, just a high quality underline kind of a hog. Need to see more when I get right behind her in terms of shape and muscularity. Here's one that does have the shape and muscle. She's a little bulldoggy up front, a little harsher in her forerib and center body. Need to level her hip out, but I do like the muscle she does have. Finish up the drive with a nice mate kind of a gilt that's got some bone, just gets a little shorter off both ends. But a good class of spots. Let's give those exhibitors a round of applause.
Congratulations, winning class number 1 of our spots was Madison Woolery from Texas. Second, R.C. Woolery from Texas. Third, Catrice Lang from California. Fourth, Parker Franz, Colorado. Fifth, Dylan Galligan from Colorado. Sixth, Cooper Allen from Texas. And seventh, Joellen Wall from California.
Keep her in front of him. Speed it up.
Real good pair of spot gilts that find their way to the top in their second of 3 classes. And I think uniform kind of a gilts that offer some power and muscularity. There's one that I think puts together a center body and dimension in a fresh sound-footed package. Young man in the green shirt is going to win the class. And let's give him a nice round of applause because he brings a high-quality spotted gilt that offers shape and muscularity. Big center kind of a hog. Want to trim her up a little bit there in her third to get real critical on her, but I think feet, legs, bone, and structure, she wins the drive pretty handily for me. The gilt in second does have a little more look and extension, a little harder shape down her top. With that said, she's not quite as robust in the center part of her body. She's plenty mobile enough and sound enough, real heavy structured kind of a gilt to be second in a good class. The third place gilt comes out. She gives you a little more length of body and frame size, one that's really elevated up in her front end. But for me, she just gets a little more coordinated the longer the drive goes. Out of her hip, she's a little shorter hip, a little shorter couple, the one that offers some length of side and length of body. A nice kind of a gilt there that offers a lot of quality. Looks like she'll make a great stout. Here's a robust stout Maitland, real heavy structure. She's a little flatter in her front feet. She's a little more out of the corners than ideal for me. Need to soften her up. Need to bring her back into reality in terms of her skeleton for me. Finish up with a big frame, long body, kind of a gilt, offers some bone and structure. Need to see more density and mass in her to get her any higher. But a good class. Let's give those exhibitors a round of applause.
Congratulations, winning class number 2 of our spot gilts is Connor Carrera of California. Second, Jordan Nugenbauer from California. Third, Catrice Lang from California. Fourth, Isaac Hargrader, California. And fifth, Colin Billings from California. Coming into the ring at this time is our third and final class of spot gilts.
Hi guys, so we're on class 20 right now, spot gilts. Good to check back in with you. We have a class with 8 people in it, and we have Carlson Jordan. She's number 1377, and her breeder is Kent Brayton and family. And then we have Raguel Middot from Prineville, Oregon, and he's also from Kent Brayton and family breeding. Faith Justwit, sorry if I butchered that, from Fredericton, Texas with Wintech Farms. Shelby Neeson from California with the Grace Palmer breeder. Jessica Wolf from Shady Cove, Oregon with Brady Brent and Larrabee Jennings. And Roderick Corey from California with Tyler Behrman as the breeder. And Mallory Yorkley from Montana with Frontline Genetics. Thank you guys for checking in. We'll check in when the next class is ready to go.
Just a reminder, if you had a champion gilt of your breed, we do need you to be here immediately following showmanship. We will call you up to the ring where we will shoot promo videos on those gilts to promote them for the sale tomorrow night. You have to bring your gilt here, so please make sure you stick around. Do not leave. We will call you up immediately following the showmanship drives today.
awesome way to end the spotted drive in a very, very good class. And I think the pair of gilts, predominantly louder mark gilts, but high quality gilts, very similar in their type and kind. I read one with just a little more coming and going. That lady over there is going to win the drive. Let's congratulate her with a big round of applause, because that gilt offers quality in terms of shape and muscle and power. Good body kind of a gilt, but still flexible enough off both ends. Gives you a good look for a big mature spotted gilt at this age. I think a nice way to start a very, very good gilt to win the drive. The gilt second, also very good in terms of her shape and muscularity. Good in the center part of her body. She gets a little closer coming and going at the ground. The one that I do like, angles are right off both ends. High quality underline. That's a nice second place gilt in a very competitive class. Third place gilt comes out is the power hog of the drive. She wants to close up, get a little flatter at her feet, not quite as comfortable out of her hind leg as the class winner in the second place, but a nice gilt. Just need to see more comfort knees out of her hip and hind leg. Young lady down there on the far side's got kind of a barrel maker. She's as heavy boned as anything in this drive. She's a little shorter off both ends. She's a little forward in her shoulder. I think we push her shoulder back. She offers a lot of neat pieces because she's a big body, really well prepared, kind of a gilt. Just need to stretch her a little bit off both ends for the breeding show for me today. Next one comes out, offers soundness and a level made kind of a hog. She's just pushing a little more condition, not quite as grooved up down her top line. One that gets a little flatter up in her front feet, but still offers quality. Look like she'll be an awesome sow because she's sound enough. She's got good flesh. She's got a good look on the side. Just pushing a little more condition for me. On the other side of things, this one's a little bigger and longer in her kind. I do like her front end. I think she'll make a great sow. She's a little flatter up in her front feet. She gets a little lower set. The one that I do like in terms of her overall design that she does have, just need to see more muscle, need to correct her on her top line and throw her head up a little bit more. Next one comes out, gets a little flatter sided, not near as comfortable behind. I visited with the remainder of the showmen. Let's give them all a nice round of applause in our final class of spots.
Congratulations, winning our third and final class of our spots. First place, Mallory Oakley from Missouri. Second, Faith Chris White from Texas. Third, Whitney Whitaker, California. Fourth, Bella Herrera, California. Fifth, Raquel Middaugh, Oregon. Sixth, Jessica Wolf, Oregon. Seventh, Shelby Nissen, California. Eighth, Roddick Corey, California. And ninth, Jordan Carlson, Arizona. We'll now bring in our first place individuals from each of those classes. Winning class number one of our spot gilts, Madison Woolery from Texas. From class 2, Connor Correa from California. And from class number 3, Mallory Oakley from Missouri.
Put our hands together out here for our three class winners in our spotted show. Another high quality show in terms of depth and quality, and I'm very excited about. I think all three of these class winners represent the breed awfully well. For me, I talked them all within their drives. I think the young gilt is one that looks like maybe she'll project to be like the bigger gilts. I mean, she's built right. One that maybe not quite as just mature, and that's all right for her age. The black gilt is one that offers some bone and power, maybe not quite as opened up as the other two, but gives you a great look, really well prepared gilt. The gilt out of the last class was out of an awesome class, and I think one that's heavy skeleton sound, puts a great look. She puts it all together for me. Congratulations, young lady out of the last class. She's got our champion spot.
Congratulations to Mallory Oakley from Missouri. Coming in from that class will be Faith Chris White from Texas.
Bring that second place gilt out, and I just talked that class, and I thought quality was really, really good all the way through. She didn't open up quite as square underneath coming at me or going away, but that one has a huge top, a big hip. I mean, one that's great in the center part of her body and still flexible. Awfully good gilt. She shoots me second best. Young lady that was second in that drive will be our reserve spot.
Congratulations, your reserve champion spot is Faith Chris White from Texas. Congratulations to all those exhibitors. We'll now begin our Yorkshire show.
Hey guys, thanks for watching our junior Pedigreed Gilt show here at the Arizona National. We are on class 21 Yorkshire Gilts. Got about 11 in this class, so I'll just kind of go through the names real quick. We got Grace from California, Madison from Texas, JC from Arizona, Hannah from Arizona, Victor from California, Avery from Colorado, Rhett from Oklahoma, Reese from Oregon, Allie from Colorado, Addie from California, Marla from Missouri, and Josephine from Oregon. So thanks for tuning in, and we will check back with you all soon.
I think she does so pretty handily for me in terms of one that's up on her pastures, gives you a good look. Proportions are right on that gilt in terms of frame size and length of body. She's maybe not the most overwhelming in terms of structure, but I think she puts a lot of things together in a real good, sound-footed kind of a package. A nice gilt to win this stripe. The gilt second, it gives you a great look on the side. Also very flexible off both ends. Not quite as robust in the center part of her body. Not quite as just overall just opened up at the ground comparing to our class winner. But I thought in terms of feet, legs, and endurance, she suited me better than our third place gilt. The third place gilt is probably a little more, she's just similar to our class winner in terms of her skeleton design. One that's just a little farther forward, not quite as coordinated the way she plants and goes. The longer the drive goes on, I know she drove a little bit longer than the other ones, but just need to flex and reach just a little bit more, a little bit better in terms of her overall flexibility. I think she pushes the second. I think a real nice kind of a gilt to be third in a good class. Fourth place hog offers moderation, bone, and power. For me, maybe just wants to close up at her knee, not quite as comfortable from hop to ground. I like her stoutness. I like her overall design that she does have. The next one coming out offers some moderation in center body. Just maybe not quite as coordinated. Gets a little closer behind, but get right behind her there. But in terms of her angulation and front shoulder, I like that gilt. I like that gilt front 2/3 a great deal. Similar deal to the gilt coming out next. Front 2/3 awfully good. She's a little rounder out of her hip. Maybe not quite as good about her head and neck. She's a little stouter headed, but looks like one that'll make a great sow. Lay down and have pigs, because I like her stoutness, a feature that she does have for her particular age. Next gilt coming out gives you a nice look about her front end. She's too sway back for me. She wants to close up at her knees. She wants to close up behind, but in terms of the look from the side, she does offer that. Just need to see more flesh and overall power to get her any higher. Real powerful gilt comes out next. Not near as coordinated behind. I visited with the two young ladies to finish up our drive. Let's give them a nice round of applause as they head back.
Well, folks, we're back on our feed here commentating. Had to go and solve a few other issues here.
Congratulations,
we
winning
got
class number 1 of our Yorkshires, Reese Sandberg from Oregon. Second, Jace Reinhardt,
we've got
Arizona.
Cannon Brown here with us
Third,
now, helping us commentate.
California.
Cannon, it's a
Fourth,
pleasure to have you
Victor,
here. You've been a
Cetus, California.
former member of the
Fifth, Madison Woolery,
NJSA
Texas.
and got to work the
Sixth,
ring
Grace
here
Curry,
and
California.
showed at this show several years.
Seventh,
And
Anna Pinkard,
showed around Arizona. And it's good to
Eighth,
have you back
Avery
here on the
Kimball,
mic with us
Colorado.
today. And so
Ninth,
we've been through
Marlena
all the
Long,
breeds on the
Missouri.
piers so far except the Yorkshire.
Tenth,
So we're on our last
Josephine
breed
Bennett,
and one of our
Oregon.
bigger breeds, but qualities have been real good today so far, and we'll see how this thing shakes up.
Oh yeah, just in the short bit that I've seen it, they look really, really good. And like Shannon said, I've been here when this was just a little tiny show, and it's nice to see it develop into what it's become, and it's really nice to see the quality here today.
Without a doubt, really good quality there. In that last class we had winner there was Reese Sandberg from Roseburg, Oregon. That gilt was a sit tight bred by Otten Walters there in California. And second place was our local guy here, one of our good friends, Jace Reinhardt and their family. That Reinhardt family has a whole slew of kids. There's 6 of those boys, and they run
get it
hard
done.
and they get it done. Those boys do good. Jace was second there. That was a leaps and bounds gilt from Otten Walter there, and Jace does a good job. You want to talk about a kid that's intense in the show ring now. That kid is intense.
Oh heck yeah.
So we're now we're on class number 22 of the Yorkshire Gilts. These gilts are born from, looks like about the 5th of June to the 16th of June. So the ages are pretty tight there, but they're getting a little bigger, a little more mature here. This 57.99 gilt, big bulky gilt there, going around the center of the ring there. That's Lane Sheehan from Madera, California. Told me there's his dad and good family there. We've known them from California. Good people, very competitive. That's a Fecky gilt, no sire listed here today, so be interesting to see where she lands. Kind of like that gilt down there in the far end by Travis. What Travis has been doing here is putting those away, and he kind of puts those away in the top end and comes out and drives them again here in a minute, and then he'll start at the bottom end and fill those pins. But boy, he's got 4 of them up there pretty quick there. He's got Christy Walt there in the first pin, and then I can't see the back numbers on those next 3 kids, but I know Christy, and she's really competitive, really good showman there from California. Runs with Joseph Parker's crew over there. So
Yep, it seems
good
like
family.
Travis is definitely in a routine. He's kind of got what he likes, and I mean, he's getting first impressions for sure, and he's finding the ones that he likes very, very quickly.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. He knows what he likes and sorts through them quickly, and like down there in 11, we got Cheyenne Murdoch from Lakeside, Arizona. Cheyenne showed the Grand Champion Barrow here in 2016. Looks like her gilt's not wanting to eat. Little hollow day. Hog comes from up in the cold country and coming down here, probably a little bit of a travel, not wanting to eat.
Different climate.
A little different animal here. A little cooler today here than normal, though.
It definitely is.
Usually a little warmer. Usually we're sitting here with our jackets off and you're wearing a jacket in the barn. We need to get some heaters in this baby.
I know it. Most people don't think about this weather in Arizona, but it gets a little chilly sometimes.
Talked to our guy James Cipher from Mormons, and what a great sponsor those guys have been. The Mormon Showtech's been a sponsor here from day one when we started this Pedigreed show. And talking to James, and he said, yeah, yesterday it was 59 at home, and today it's 19. So
oh gosh,
one thing you can count on in Oklahoma is the weather's going to change.
Exactly.
And if you don't like it now, just wait till tomorrow. It'll be different. All right, Travis is going to let them out. He's going to have a slew of them. Looks like he's going to have about 7 of them out here to drive for class win. Again, down there in the far end, we've got coming across the middle there, that's Lexi Hunt. Lexi's a local girl here from Buckeye, Arizona, about 30 miles west of here. That's a Heimer Gilt, sired by Amped Up. 68-64 going across there. Who's that? That's Cooper Corella. Looks like he's going to end up in the 7th hole there. That's a Gas Money Gilt bred by Adam Bothman. Yorkshire quality looks to be pretty good today. These
really nice gilts when we're getting up in weight.
Yeah, you're not going to slide into this show anymore with a decent one and get a win. You got to be pretty good to win these divisions and breeds here. Number 5. I didn't get a back number on that one.
I didn't get a tag number either.
Actually, that's number 6. He called it 5, but that's 6. Cannon's a student down at the University of Arizona south of here in Tucson, so we used to get to see him a little more often. He stays down there working and going to school a lot.
Yeah, I stay pretty busy nowadays.
Welcome to adulthood, right?
I know it. It's good to get back here and kind of get with my other family down here, see family, see all the friends that I've made in this industry. I always cherish this time when Arizona Nationals comes around. The weather's great, the people are better.
Absolutely, a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
He sends Lexi Hunt into 5th place.
Yeah, that's that Amped Up Gilt.
That is that Amped Up Gilt.
From Heimer. So we've still got the Shahan young man in here. We've got Christy Walt in here. Get this young guy's number here in the green plaid shirt, 4042. Is Josh Cole. That's a Heimer Gilt, Amped Up. And then this young man here looks like going in 4th is, excuse me,
6458.
6458.
Actually, 6458 goes into 3rd.
And here's
Real
Travis.
high quality, classy Yorkshire Gilt. Commend the exhibitors all the way through. I think we're 6 deep and still offer quality all the way down. I think just the differences, I guess, on the top end, and these two don't look the same by any means, but I think they're the quality hogs that stay together for me. I read one with just a little more extension off both ends. Young lady's going to win the class. Let's give her a nice round of applause. I like that gilt front end. I like the way she levels out her hip. I think she gives us the best look on the side. You know, maybe need to give her just a shot more in terms of the way she goes. I think angles read right. I think she's true enough coming and going. I think a nice place to start. Young man in second's drive really can get out and get them stuck. He drove a couple today. That gilt's endurance and the way she plants and drives off both ends is incredibly good. She's a little shorter and rounder out of her hip. I think maybe being a little bit rounder makes her plant and go better behind. So I think there's a little compensation there. Maybe want to give her a little more look up on her front end. But those are the kind that make incredibly good sows, and that's the way I read her. I think she's good in the center part of her body. She's stout made. Maybe just want to give her a little more look. Young man does a great job sticking them. Next one coming out, very similar to our class winner in terms of look and levelness from the side. not near as comfortable out of her hind leg. And I don't think it's due to a soundness or a structure issue. I just think it's due to maybe just a little more tender and ginger behind there, because she's got a great set and slope to her hind leg. Her shoulder read's good enough. Not quite as heavy structured as a few of the other ones. Next gilt coming out gives you some neat breeding pieces. Need to push your shoulder back and square her knee up. The one that's got some shape and muscle, center body, she's a little shorter and rounder off both ends. I just think maybe you could make some barrows and take her to something, but I like the power and design. Really well prepared gilt. Thought she needed to land in the top 5. 5th place gilt comes out next. Bigger, taller, kind of a hog. Gives you a nice look. She gets a little easier there behind. She needs to have more comfort. She's too straight from hock to ground. Gets a little flatter in her side. She's a big forearm kind of a gilt and offers some shape and power working down her top line. Just need to see her plan go better for me. Next one coming out is one that's got some shape, got some muscle. Young lady does a great job driving her. Just gets too tight off both ends. She's too restricted up in her front end. The longer the drive goes on, she wanted to throw her hind end. I visited with the remainder of the showman coming out. The young man's got one that's a sky-headed gilt. Need to see more body. I visited with the remainder. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Let's put our hands together one more time for that class.
Congratulations, winning that class is Christia Walt from California. 2nd, Josh Cole, California. 3rd, Jack Goodwin, Oregon. 4th, Lane Sheehan, California. 5th, Lexi Hunt, Arizona. 6th, Michaela Anderson, California. 7th, Cooper Correa, Washington. 8th, Maggie Roche, California. 9th, Kendall Correa, Washington. 10th, Kendall Correa, Washington. And 11th, Cheyenne Murdoch, Arizona.
Class 23, competitive class. The last one came in. We've got classes here. Yours round this deal up. 23 and 24 and 25. And this purebred show will go into the showmanship portion of the day.
For showmanship juniors, we'll go first. For showmanship juniors, we'll go first. We had to make some changes to the showmanship classes. Those new classes will be posted here shortly, and will be located in the same place that the classes were posted last night. We'll let you know as soon as those are up so that you can go check them again.
Lovelock, Nevada. Torpedo Farms got no sire on that. That's just a pedigree. Back to those are the top two. See what Travis is going to pick up the microphone. We'll see what he has to say.
Real nice pair of gilts here. They're different. They're types, as I said, in previous classes. And young lady over here has got a gilt. We drove a little bit longer, but kind of grew on me a little bit. So I think she's got some unique pieces and some breeding value. We dropped the rest of them out, and they're definitely contrasting on different spectrums. I guess one's a little heavier skeleton, one's got a little neater look and a little more feminine. But with that said, maybe not quite as square off both ends. So longer the drive goes on, the advantage goes to this young lady right here. Let's give her a nice round of applause. She's got the heaviest skeleton gilt within the class, and I read her with more squareness and just security from off the ground. And as she comes at me, she's not the loosest out of her hind end. I call her loose enough in this particular drive. The gilt at second is one that's awesome on the side. She's very, very good in terms of her elevation up front, her levelness that she does have. She gets a little frailer in her feature comparing to the class winner, and where I want to change her is just she wants to push outside her walls coming in going. And I think for one that's maybe not quite as stout or robust, I don't think there's a lot of leeway there. I guess for me, I just want to see her just a little heavier structure. Need to square her up off both ends, but a nice pair of gilts there, contrasting in their types and kinds. Third place gilt comes out, robust, big center kind of a gilt, just gets a little tighter wound behind. She's pushing a little more condition. Looks like she'll be a good sow. She opens up true at her chest floor. Good body kind of a gilt, just gets a little shorter off both ends. Need to trim her up in her lower third. Next one comes out, looks like a Barrowmaker stout, heavy bone, just gets a little too easy in her top. Want to push her knee and shoulder back, give her more comfort and security as she plants and drives out of her hip and hind leg. Really attractive gilt comes out next. Excellent preparation on that one. She's also one that's got a huge forearm. She's got a big hind leg. She's just not quite enough stifle muscle. I get right behind her. For one this size and weight, need to pull her apart for the show ring. Next one comes out, shape and muscle. Young man doing a good job driving this gilt. She's too forward in her shoulders. She wants to bunch up and crest up in her neck. Gets a little rounder out of her hip. Nice presented kind of a gilt with good skin and hair. Next one's come out. I visited with these young people there. Just need to see a little bit more of them, or maybe a few more structure issues. Good class and a good top pair. Let's give those exhibitors a nice round of applause.
Congratulations. Winning that class was Hailey Pearson from Colorado. Second, Shelby Nissen from California. Third, Sierra Short, California. Fourth, Brindley Correll, Colorado. Fifth, Lucas Resendez, California. Sixth, Tanner Vieira, California. Seventh, Tyler Trulson, California. Eighth, Brian Matthews, California. Ninth, Tyler Trulson, California. Congratulations to all of those exhibitors. Coming into the ring next, Class 24, Yorkshire Gilts.
Well, Ken, second to the last class appears today. From Merced. It's a no limit genetics farm. granddaughter. He's put a bunch of those up. I think put 6 of them away. Now he's starting to have a lot of work there. And he didn't waste any time putting them in there either. Lauren Bliss is over there in the 5th bowl. Waiting to come back out and try. Got some Ricker York. Devonshire raised some good Yorks. Oh, yeah. Look back in a lot of pedigrees and a lot of these structures around the country. And that Ricker name is planted there. Yeah, they're coming and going. That guy's
That is Nelson Vince, and I know him as an NJSA, but very good kid. He's
Sorry by the crying. That's what
Showmanship is now posted outside the hog office if you'd like to go check that out.
That's the 2469. That's when you run that from. Been in here a few other times and it's pretty cool to see that we're getting options from that group up here competing. That's super cool. And Gilts also does awesome.
yeah, it's awesome to see that.
Looks like he's in the 6th hole. It's like the Titan Wheel comes up in 5th hole. Water's pretty deep here.
Very impressive to see what these kids have done with these Gilts. For how old these Gilts have gotten. They've kept them together really, really well.
Skin and hair on that one's good. That one moves around like a cat. No. I'm putting a wager. I'm saying that one's probably like in that class. We'll see. That one's awful nice. Excuse me. It's probably got a little more mass and density. It's not like a sow today. It's just any old. So Wayne Manning's up in the 4th hole in the deep class again. Another Yorkshire. Main power from Olsen's. Down to the top 3. The dress there, the yellow blue shirt, regulated and getting driven.
I like that kid.
Awesome Yorkshire class. Let's commend these three young ladies as well as the rest of the class on depth and quality. Real good in this class. And I think that the three Gilts that find their way to the top all offer a lot of good things. And I think ones that are mobile enough on their feet and legs and still got some structure, I guess there's just some differences. And of the three, there's one that opens up, the truest coming at you, and the squarest at the ground in terms of feet and just overall design. I think she designs good, but she's still the power hog. Young lady in front of me is going to win the drive. And I think does so from just a structure standpoint. I love that Gilt's chest when she comes at you, and that's where she's going to beat the Gilt in second in terms of just squareness at the ground. She's a huge arm kind of a Gilt, the underline tying up and her quality. I think a nice Gilt to win the drive. Young lady's got an awesome Gilt that's going to be second. Let's give her a round of applause because that one's presented extremely well. Great center body, very good in terms of the way she moves up at her front end. Just when she comes right at me, she wants to roll up front. She's a little fragile there in her forearm, but that's getting critical. An awfully good Gilt. I think a nice pair of Gilts there in their top end. The Gilt in third in terms of skeleton on the side. I'll take Sal to look like that all day because she's up on her pasture. She's sound. She can get out and go. She just needs to be cracked open coming at you. Give her a little more forerib and center body. I think a nice balance kind of a Gilt that lands third. Similar to say about the Gilt in fourth, one that's good enough on her side. She needs to be opened up coming at you. Maybe not quite as comfortable out of her right hind, but one that's heavy duty. Looks like can be taken to a lot of different borders. Will be a great sale for that young man or whoever takes her home because I like her bone. I like her structure. I think one that can move you on the right side of things there. Next one comes out very good in terms of her design. Her lines are good enough. She's not quite as comfortable out of her hind legs. She wants to twist a little bit there. She's a little more fragile comparing to her top four there. The one that I do like. Feet and legs are good enough, and she's comfortable up in her front end. Nice design kind of a Gilt. The skin and hair's on point. Nice Gilt to be fifth in a very competitive class. Next Gilt, need to crack her open coming at you. Heavy duty, gets a little shorter hinged and not quite as comfortable as she plants and goes to the ground. I visited with the remainder of the exhibitors. Extremely good class and a very good top end. Let's give those exhibitors a nice round of applause.
Congratulations, winning class. That class is Lauren Bliss from California. Second, Alexis Hernandez, California. Third, Jocelyn Peterson, California. Fourth, Wayne Barnett, Oregon. Fifth, Kola Typen, Oregon. Sixth, Nelson Hansen, California. Seventh, Saria Avila, California. Eighth, Alyssa Donick, California. Ninth, Madeline Lindley, California. And 10th, Caitlin Carter, Washington. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Put a couple back in there. I think the first one there is Michaelis Fortuno, and I think that Gilts wins the Western Regional. If I'm not mistaken. That's a leaps and bounds goal. Martin Sammy's granddaughter there also. That's a heck of a nice pretty interesting. Looks like you get yourself for sure. Class we've had today in the in this class. That was his tournament for the Los Angeles top number 3 playing Quincy, Washington. That's another level for
We will take a 15-minute break at the conclusion of the Yorkshire Drive. And just as a reminder, all of the breed champions from today will come back at the conclusion of the Crossbred Gilt Show tomorrow for our champion overall gilt drive. We will not have a champion purebred gilt drive today. Also, again, there will be a 15-minute break between now and showmanship, or at the end, excuse me, of Yorkshire Drive and showmanship. Those classes are now posted over by the office.
Super supportive again there. Can't see on Facebook Live here, but Odd Walters, they stepped up to the plate. We had an online auction there that we auctioned off in and out banners, the banner on the scale and the banner on front of the Facebook Live. And we looked at them, there's an Odd Walters banner on the end date as well on the scale from the Facebook Live. There's one in the back here on the back side. They reached out with everything on there. Really great for his supporters. Here, coming back out now to drive in Northern Michigan first there, doing Michaela Sortino, and that's again that I think things are actually making a deal. That's a leaps and bounds here.
Just as a reminder, that would be the champions and reserves of each of the breeds for tomorrow. Those hogs will need to be on deck and ready to roll at the conclusion of the champion crossbred drive.
Got a text from Hugh gave here a few minutes ago, and it says the mic is not
The showmanship classes will also be added to the app shortly.
clear, so
Again, just as a reminder, you can download that app at AZ National in the App Store for Android or
judge here. So,
iOS.
it's only for us, so let me know if we're a little clearer now. Tell me if that's any better.
I think both of us talk pretty loud enough. You might need to talk louder.
Yeah, nobody's ever told me to talk loud.
Yeah.
You know, you spend a lot of time in my house, so my wife Dankshire never says that I don't talk enough.
Hopefully we fix the problem. I think you know how that Blaine Levi said it when he first placed the ball. That's how much confusion
First class of the day that I've seen Travis rerun top in twice. That tells me something maybe about what's coming out here. He really likes these Yorkshires, and that guy's got some really good Yorkshire wars there on stud, and leaps and bounds wheels been really good. I know they paid a lot of money for that one. I think they're just really doing a nice job. A lot of people
Sorry everybody if you hear my cough. I have a little bit of a cold. I'm trying to microwave.
They have to give you a shot of penicillin, facial or something. Shot of Banamine, so usually well. Down there, come around the other side, so Stromberg. I'm gonna answer this here soon. I said don't have a reader, but that's a proof deal. And Colorado, really awesome thing. To see them occasionally go to the country and go to dinner and spend the time showing heifers last year. Super good people. Nasty. Again, we want to thank our sponsors. We go and talk about that in Locals a while ago. One of our other big sponsors here in back is Norman Sheepsack, and what an awesome team those guys are. We appreciate all their support. Good to see Tricia and James out here. And to be honest, they're really the only feed company that's out here this year, and we're appreciative of their support. They've been here from the beginning.
They certainly got a lot to have to show. Candy's a little biased to the part of Mormon, but in my unbiased opinion as well, I have no connection to them. They have a lot of good people working for them, and they support the kids with everything that they have. So.
Yeah, you know, we unloaded here the other day, and Tricia came in and used my pickup and went to pick her stuff up, and I got a big long bin pickup, and it was completely over the top full of giveaway goodies that they're going to put under skins, buckets, hats, cups, and you name it, feed scoops and water bottles, and you name it. Laura back at the main office, and Bruce there singing a lot of stuff here to give away. They're super supportive of those kids, and that's what we need in this industry is people that support kids. And the bottom line is, without the kids, none of us have anything to do. That's what it's all about.
It looks like Brady's going into the fourth hole. I think he's in Louisiana. It's a big country deal. Signed by Schmidt.
So we got the Strongburger Guild, we got Cortino, Lot and Walter Guild, and then we've got the 65-69, and Travis has got his hands in his pocket studying those, and I don't blame him. That's Jack Odell from Napa, and that's a Rotodog Guild, and that's quite a trio of Yorkshire sows out there. Take any of those guilds on. Let's see what Travis says.
Real good way to end our final class of purebred. Let's give it up here for our Yorkshire showman in this drive. got an awesome class, and I think the biggest class, but one of the deeper classes of the day. We pinned back 12, and there's quality all the way down there, and I mean that. I think all three of these represent the highest qualities, and yet there's three of them, and then there's parts and pieces of all of them that you like, and then you combine them. For me, there's kind of one that in terms of flexibility and looseness and the way they tie together all the while and still maintain enough structure with a great body, great running gear, and that's what's going to win this drive. This young lady right here is going to win this class. Let's give her a nice round of applause. I like this Gilts feet and legs. I think she's one that's pushed a little more condition, but for the age, I think she handles it good enough. I mean, she's not maybe the trendiest neck one by any means, but the Yorkshire sows that work at my house are good enough there, and I call her good enough there. And I think that she offers a skeleton that is right. She's got a big arm working in her, a big hind leg. I think a nice place to start. I thought second and third were close, but I really like this Gilt to be second. Let's give this young man a nice round of applause. That one's got breeding ability all the way through it. She's as stout mugged as you can make one. Still ties in good in terms of her shape and muscularity. She's got a little different shape to her hind leg, and I don't think utilizes it as good as our class winner, and that's where I sorted the pair. I like a lot of good things about that Gilt. I think a very, very high quality kind of a hog. That's a great Gilt to be second. The Gilt in third, young lady has drove the longest by far, but you got a great profiling Gilt. I think she's heads up. I'll take them all day that look like that. Where I want to correct her is just when she comes right at me. She gets a little bit narrower. She's not quite as heavy in her skeleton as our first and second in this drive, but that one's skeleton on the side in terms of her angulation up front and behind. She suits me third best in this drive. Awesome presented Gilt that lands in fourth. One that's as shapely as you can make one. The longer the drive goes on, she gets a little more timid off both ends. Young lady, I applaud you for trying to rest her as much as possible, but she's just not quite as comfortable the longer the drive goes on. Where I want to correct her is up in her front feet and her knee there. We want to square her up, but she's got some breeding ability about her from her levelness. Got a big root working in her, got a big hind leg. I like that Gilt a great deal. Fourth in class, wouldn't think a Gilt of that caliber could be there, but that's what the depth and quality offers in this class. That's a nice Gilt. Want to correct her knee and her pasture set. The longer you look at her and study her up in her front end. Here's a nice Gilt that does a lot of neat things in terms of feet and legs and design. Just need to see more muscle and power in that particular one. The one that's no holes kind of a Gilt. Just want to see a few more extras in her. Young lady does a good job. The longer the drive goes, she got her stuck and settled down. That's a nice Gilt to be fifth. Powerful kind of a hog that lands next and sixth. Shape and muscle, great skin and hair like this young man showing all day. Shapely, big center. She's too round out of her hip. I don't think she's quite as coordinated there out of her hind leg. She wants to cave in at her knee ever so slightly. Just want to push her or just want to strengthen her and give her a little more length off both ends. Next one comes out, offers some design and build. I talked to this young man. I mean, skin and hair is on point. That Gilt on the side is awesome. She just wants to cave in too much at her knee, and she's not quite as coordinated at her hop. From the hop down, we want to square her up ever so slightly. Next one comes out, offers some barrel making ability in terms of shape and muscle. Just want to lengthen her out off both ends. I visited with the remainder of the exhibitors. Great class and a great way to end our Yorkshire show. Let's congratulate those exhibitors once again.
Class of Yorkshires there is Michaela
I just think
Sorrentino from California.
enough of them. We probably ought to reconsider.
Second, Jack Odell, California. Third, Brooke Stomberger, Colorado. Fourth, Brady Bulkey, Louisiana. Fifth, Kayla Toyez, Illinois. Sixth, Nelson Hansen, California. Seventh, Blaine Lee, Washington. 8th, Nelson Hansen, California. 9th, Emma Betancourt, California. 10th, Joellen Wall, California. 11th, McKenna Clevenger, Oregon. And 12th, Haley Addig, California. Congratulations to those exhibitors. At this time, we'll bring in our first place exhibitors from each of those classes. From class number 1, Reese Sandberg from Oregon. From class 2, Christia Walt, California. Class 3, Kylie Pearson, Colorado. From Class 4, Lauren Bliss, California. And from Class 5, Michaela Ceratino, California.
People are loving this. They're loving this. That you're talking about breed lines and everything. All the comments. Loving it.
Well, welcome back. We got our Yorkshire, I'll tell you this, there's not a lot of holes in this. Really, really high gold. It's going to be hard for them to find the last one, but I'm sure we have to have.
Yeah, and we've got a variety of them. You know, our last class winner there, Michaela's, that's an Otwalter Red Gilt, leaps and bounds gilt. The class 24 gilt is Lauren Bliss's gilt, that's a Rickard gilt. Don't know what, we don't have the sire on that. If anybody knows that, shoot us a text or poke it online there on the Facebook comments. Class 23 there was 23 there. The winner in that one was Haley Pearson, that's a Torpedo Farms gilt. Class 22 was Christy Walt there with a Fecky gilt. Class 21 gilt, that's Reese Sandberg, that's our youngest class, that's an Otwalter gilt, sit tight. So the 5 gilts we got out here, we got a lot of variance in age and size there. Again, I think that youngest gilt was born on July the 1st, and then this latest class winner was May the 1st, so there's 60 days.
Put our hands together for our 5 young ladies driving for Yorkshire. Extremely deep and high quality. This breed has been from the start all the way, all 5 classes. I think gilts that represent the Yorkshire breed to a high degree, and I think we started off the day with the young lady's gilt that the epitome of design and build, one that gives you a great look on the side and plenty mobile enough, you know, maybe not as mature, heavy structured as some of the other ones, but a real good kind of a gilt that won that class. Gilt that was in the 2nd class, similar deal. Build and mold from the side as good as you can make one. Feet and legs are awfully good. You know, one that maybe not quite as just comfortable as a few of the other ones, but I called her comfortable enough in that drive, and she balances up, proportions are right. Got a real interesting gilt that won the 3rd class, as heavy skeleton as anything that we've seen, I guess, for that weight and that age. I guess maybe level her hip out just a nickel. She's got some breeding value for sure. And then we finish with the last 2 classes, very competitive. The young lady down there on the far side's got one, extremely heavy skeleton and opened up good, coming and going. You know, maybe just want to pick her feet up a little bit to get real critical and freshen her up, but that one there looks like a sow to me. A high quality kind of underline that's got some shape and muscularity. She's good enough about her neck and still got some stoutness, and I think Yorkshire sows are okay to have a little stoutness to their head. Yeah, the lady, young lady out of last class, I talked, she is a little stouter headed, looks like a Yorkshire female, and one that offers some shape and robustness and plenty good enough in terms of her design from the side for this age, and an almost near perfect hip and hind leg in terms of shaping one and designing one that can clam drive like that and still maintain some freshness for the weight. I think all 5 gilts are really good and offer a very high quality, the deepest breed today, I think, in terms of depth all the way through. Commend the breeders and the feeders and the showmen. Great Yorkshire show. The one that suits me best is one that's good in terms of every dimension you look at her, shape and muscle. She gives you a good enough look for me and really comfortable feet and legs. I like the young lady out of last class. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Michaela Ceratino from California. Your champion Yorkshire coming in from that class will be Jack Adele from California.
Yeah, we need to announce we're going to pick a top 5 Yorkshire. Okay, it's fine. Hey, as long as you know privately which ones, because you're going to have to keep bringing them out. That's fine. I agree. I just said the Yorkshires are deep enough. We probably need 5.
bring that second place gilt out, and that was an awesome class, as I just talked, and one that gets right in here. I love that gilt's head and neck, the way she ties in, shapely, really fresh and well prepared kind of a gilt. You know, I talked to her, maybe not quite as correct in the way her hock is shaped, but I think she uses it good enough when he gets her out and gets her drove. Maybe want to crack her open just a little bit coming at you, but you could say that about a few of the other ones as well. But I think on the side and shape and muscle, that gilt gets in the thick of things, and I think one that's awesome in terms of her proportions, being the length of body and frame size, really heavy skeleton. She's plenty up and up on her pastures. Like as I said, great head and neck. She ties in correctly for her age. She suits me second best. Congratulations to that young man.
Congratulations, reserve champion Yorkshire is Jack Adele from California. We will take a 15-minute break between now and showmanship. So we'll have you join us back here at about 1:10. Please do not bring your hogs to the ring for class number 1 until you are called. Please do not bring your hogs to the ring for class number 1 until you are called.
Appreciate you coming and here with us, and great today. We'll bring those champions in each breed back tomorrow and run for the Supreme overall gilt. Tomorrow there's going to have to be some pretty good crosses to get out of these purebreds. Great show, and we're going to take a little break here, and then we'll be back live again with showmanship. So thanks for everybody around the country. Send us any comments. What you like, what you didn't like again, and I appreciate you watching and share with your friends so everybody watch again. We'll be back with more hog show after showmanship today. We've got Custer Gilt starting at 7:30 local time here in Phoenix tomorrow morning. Then that will sale